It was the schooner Hesperus that sailed the wintry sea, and the skipper had taken his little daughter to bear him company. Blue were her eyes as the fairy flax, her cheeks like the dawn of day, her bosom white as the hawthorn buds that open the month of May. The skipper stood beside the helm, his pipe was in his mouth, and he watched how the veering flaw did blow, the smoke, now west, now south. Then up and spoke an old sailor, had sailed the Spanish Main. I pray, sir, put into yonder port, for I fear a hurricane. Last night the moon had a golden ring, and tonight no moon we see. The skipper blew a whiff from his pipe, and a scornful laugh laughed he. Colder and louder blew the wind, a gale from the northeast. The snow fell hissing on the brine, and the billows frost like yeast. Down came the storm and smote amain the vessel in her strength. She shuddered and paused like a frightened steed, then leaped her cable's length. Come hither, my little daughter, and do not tremble so, for I can weather the roughest gale that ever wind did blow. He wrapped her warm in his seaman's coat against the stinging blast. He cut a rope from a broken spar and tied her to the mast. O Father, I hear the sound of bells. O pray, what may that be? 'Tis a foghorn on a rock-bound coast, and he steered for the open sea. O Father, I hear the sound of guns. O pray, what may that be? 'Tis a ship in distress that cannot live in such an angry sea. O Father, I see a gleaming light. O pray, what may that be? But the father answered never a word, a frozen corpse was he. Lashed to the helm, all stiff and stark, with his face turned to the skies, the lantern gleamed through the glistening snow on his fixed and glassy eyes. Then the maiden clasped her hands and prayed that saved she might be, and she thought of Christ who stilled the wave on the lake of Galilee. On through the midnight dark and drear, through the whistling sleet and snow, like a sheeted ghost the vessel swept toward the reef of Norman's Woe. Her rattling shrouds all sheathed in ice, she drifted a dreary wreck, and a whooping billow swept the crew like icicles from her deck. At daybreak on a bleak sea beach, a fisherman stood aghast to see the form of a maiden fair lashed close to a drifting mast. The salt sea was frozen on her breast, the salt tears in her eyes, and he saw her hair like the brown seaweed on the billows fall and rise. Such was the wreck of the Hesperus in the midnight and the snow. Christ save us all from a death like this on the reef of Norman's Woe.